Warning: the following contains explicit language and subject matter that may not be suitable for younger listeners, church folk, and people who enjoy kale smoothies.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have a grandfather on the board of some fancy college. Keyword being was, did he touch the Filipino exchange student? Did he not touch the exchange student? I don't know, Brooke. I wasn't there.
Don't start with the family stuff. Like, your family's so perfect, your brother's a pervert.
Don't talk to me about the sexual habits of family members. What about your sister?
My sister's been through a lot.
Of Dick?
There are some problems, Gary, but can we please just leave it?
Problems? She slept with the entire Arizona Cardinals offensive line. That's not problems. She's a problem.
She was on vacation.
She was on vacation. Don't even get me started, by the way, on your brother. If I have to hear that guy sing just one more time, I'd hang myself with wax dental floss. Could the guy just come out of the closet, please?
Richard is not gay.
Okay, Lassie, I want you to listen to me, and listen good. I'm not saying he won't get married. I'm not saying he won't even have kids. But then one day his wife will come home, and then she'll find him with a guy named Julio wearing leather helmets and clubbing each other to Yanni's greatest hits.
Right, whatever. You're an infant.
Yeah, I'm an infant.
But anyway, this is a pod amongst men. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Steve B. I'm here with my returning guests, Laquan and Rashaun G, a.k.a. the Supercar Twins.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up? How's everybody doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Thanks for having us back, man.
Hey, man.
Yeah, man. Happy to be back.
Of course, we got to bring good people back.
Heck yeah.
So, obviously, you guys are twins, you're brothers, and I wanted you back on the show because tonight I want to talk about something that affects every single person on this planet.
Oh, yeah.
Family.
Yeah. Yep.
Family can be one of the most beautiful things in a person's life, or it can be one of the most fucked up things in a person's life.
What do they usually say? A gift and a curse, right?
Yeah. You can't pick your family, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like as you guys know, I have a little bit of a complicated family myself.
Yeah.
You know, as many of us do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I just really wanted to break it down because there's a lot of stuff that, you know, people go through with family. A lot of times, like, one of the main things I want to touch on is a lot of people have family members. And people kind of assume, maybe subconsciously, I don't know if it's on purpose, that because someone's family, you can almost treat them however you want because they're going to be there no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
You treat them differently from how you would treat your friends or the outsiders.
It's almost like you treat them like dirt because you know you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I've always been super conscious of that and very against it because in my family, that was a thing that happened a lot. You guys ever experienced anything like that? I mean, obviously, you guys are close as brothers. So
as brothers with the back and forth, because we know, we have like a 5-minute recovery time with our arguments.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that know us know that we've had our fair share.
5 minutes later, we're like best friends after whatever. It could be from whatever extreme, from zero extreme to the high extreme.
But they don't mean anything. They don't really turn into anything. They don't get physical.
Yeah, see, I think that's you guys are so close that it almost can't get to that level.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's a respect, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
but I mean, think of how much shared life experience the two of you have that 99% of other people on the planet won't have.
It's true. Yeah, I think we develop a bond that we kind of understand each other, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's almost like that. It's like the valley. If you were to look at it on a graph, you get so close in age to a family member, it starts getting real rough. But then when it becomes that close, then it goes back up, and then it's an unbreakable bond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because I don't know if I've ever met any twins that don't, that aren't on speaking terms or anything like that.
I'm not naming
I could be
names.
speaking
No,
out.
I'm not
off the
naming
top
names,
of
but
my head.
I know one set that's not closer. They don't appear to be close.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think that was like a common thing.
It's really not. I mean, at the same time, twins can be competitive. So depending on the degrees of that competitive nature, I mean, that could set things up in like a different direction. It just depends, though.
Mm-hmm.
My whole thing is I just don't take it personal.
Well, that's us.
Yes.
We're talking about we're generalizing this at this point.
So one of the things that complicates a lot of relationships, whether it's between siblings or parents and kids, is divorce. So I know I come from a divorced family.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys?
Well, our parents never were married.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I guess
I got
that.
that. I got that in the family too. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess that's the
we were
same.
raised by a single mom. So our father we met, later on.
How old were you guys when you met your dad?
18.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
like something out of a movie, right?
Hey, I met my sister when I was 22, 23. Yeah, 23.
That's crazy.
So that's it gets crazy, man. My parents split when I was 3 years old. My sister was 2. So I grew up. When you get used to that at a young age, that just becomes normal. You see your dad every other weekend.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of things that like you kind of grow up accustomed to or used to because of like things that I'm not used to now that I was just totally like content with when I was younger, just because it felt like it was normal.
Exactly. Like you just are accustomed to it. You don't know any other way.
Like I admit, like we have like reaching out and being in contact like on a consistent basis. I mean, we do talk on a consistent basis, but sometimes it's tough because I'm not used to that aspect of my life.
You guys have a good relationship with him?
Oh, absolutely. Now
I think now.
Yeah.
It's still a whole lot of respect for my mother more than anything now.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, more than anything. So I just wanted that to be clear because as much as you could have a relationship with him now, we're still not going to forget what the foundation of what we are.
Definitely.
Or what it comes from.
That's not easy. I mean, being a single mom raising one kid.
No, because she
Well, let me
deserves all
rephrase,
the
being a
praise.
single parent because they can go either way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It could go
Let
either
alone
way.
2 boys.
Yeah. And I don't even know how. I mean, she did it. So she's done stuff that a lot of people wouldn't think that she would be able to handle.
It's amazing.
As a woman, So
Yeah. As a parent, too, like, the people, when you get put into a position, like a situation where you really don't have any options, you just have no choice but to find that strength.
Oh, yeah.
She finds it over and over again. I think that's what we see, that there's no real such thing as a limit or like can't do, especially when you watch somebody who's had their back against the wall many a times, and it's just like, all right, what excuses could I possibly make for myself? There is none.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just to touch on the divorce thing again, like
hang on, we're gonna pause for a second. We're back in. We had a little technical difficulty, so
my fault.
no, it's all good. All is a crisis averted.
yeah,
All right, so where did we leave off?
we were talking about being divorced, separated, but I feel like they're all similar. But just to even touch on that, just in general, because I feel like they all have a similarity to what they do to kids in general. Kids always have some type of resentment or feel like they're involved in that. And I think for us, it was just not really, I don't really think I felt that way. I just felt like there's probably a lot of things involved. I think I was more an adult when I was a kid, which probably doesn't even make a whole lot of sense, but I think I understood a lot of what they probably didn't think we understood.
Yeah, you're just a little mature for your age.
Yeah, and that's all it was. So I didn't really have any grudges like I could really play into, because I didn't know any of the situations where that drove, my dad away for as long as he was away, or my mom was never negative, she never really spoke in a negative tone. So I didn't have any experience of understanding what the real situation was until I got older. Obviously, when you get older, you process things a little bit better.
Yeah.
Things make a little bit more sense, and you learn that it isn't you.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with you. Never did. It's just whatever the situation was, you come up in that situation.
I almost feel like maybe in a situation like you guys were in where your dad wasn't even around, it kind of takes a lot of the drama out of it, because for me, in my situation,
There's
my
no one
dad,
to argue with.
Exactly. My dad was still around, and obviously him and my mom they split for a reason,
Yeah.
because they didn't get along. And I don't care if my dad does one day listen to this, whatever. But as a grown man now, I see he wasn't mature enough. He was still young. He was 22 when he had me.
Yeah.
So he's a kid.
Same my dad. He was young and dumb.
Yeah, like I mean, I there's a certain level of leeway I might give somebody for behaving like, in a less than perfect manner.
Yeah.
To put it lightly.
A logical manner.
Yeah, but
Well, that's the thing, though, too. When you get older, you start to see things you start to piece things together a little differently. You start to actually things things weigh a little different too.
Of course, because you could put yourself in that position
Yeah.
too. I mean, I remember when I was 22, there was no fucking way I was ready to have a kid.
Nah,
I wasn't even ready
neither.
to be
So
a
part of you
functioning
can
human.
understand like
I
where
wouldn't-
your mindset is at that age,
Yeah.
because it's like, especially me,
I wouldn't say I
being
was
that young.
irresponsible. Maybe my mom would, but I don't know if I would.
What's the
say
thing too? My mom, when they split, like it was me, my sister, and my mom living in in a little apartment in Lindenwold in South Jersey,
Yeah,
sharing one. It was a trundle bed, so it was one of those ones where you pull it out
Pull
from
it out.
underneath.
yeah.
So my sister slept on one, and I slept on the other, and my mom slept at the foot across the two because that was what we had.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like, for her, she had no choice but to step up, and and him, I don't know, he was around, but I don't know what he was doing,
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we said, now we've been that age, we realize no surprise, somebody isn't going to make the perfect decision every step of the way.
Not at that age. I can tell you that right now. Not for
Yeah,
myself.
but that's the thing with that drama too, with the two of them butting heads.
Yeah.
It can get really ugly, man.
Especially if you're, as a kid seeing that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get
because
it.
sometimes a parent might, they want to use the kids against one the other,
Yeah.
against the ex.
Collateral.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if there's any divorced parents listening to this, anybody who's dealing with an ex or baby mom or whatever, like, don't use the fucking kids, man. Don't use the kids
Don't
against the
involve
other,
anything with that.
because they're gonna remember it when they get older. I guarantee it.
It just gets ugly.
I'm not a parent, so I'm not trying to talk out of turn when I say this, or I'm not even trying to be disrespectful when I say this to people who are parents. But as a parent, you're not a real parent if you use your kids as collateral in any argument, anything. Like, you're not a real parent if you.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that pettiness. You're letting the pettiness
Well, even though
override your own spot as a parent, your own duty as a father or a mother.
Yeah.
And even though they're a product of the relationship, they don't really have anything to do with the real details of the relationship.
The thing is, though, the children are equally yours. So you can't pin one against the other. You can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, like it happens.
I know,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. And hey, maybe sometimes it's warranted. There's those scenarios where the one party is the one getting all the stuff done to them. Mm-hmm. And hey, I understand those situations. That situation's that's a special situation.
You know what though? As someone who lived through it, I have to say, even in the case where one parent is being manipulative and
Yeah, 'cause that
pulling
can
all kinds of
happen.
dirty tricks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
the kid will
Try
the,
to turn the kids
child who
against,
becomes an
one.
adult
Yeah.
will see that when they become an adult.
Exactly. It might suck for the one parent at the time.
Yeah,
But
but
down the
karma
road-
karma always makes its rounds.
Absolutely. Because I know my mom went through some shit, with my old man. And now that I'm an adult and I look back and I remember all the stuff that maybe they thought I wouldn't remember,
Yeah.
it makes,
Kids retain a lot of things. that
Yeah.
they,
It's crazy too, because you're a kid seeing how adults act, and you wondering how are they adults when kids even I see today kids act more adult like than adults do.
well, it's crazy too because when a kid sees that's how the adult acts, they internalize that and they think that that's how an adult is supposed to act. So that behavior becomes normalized for them, and then you just end up repeating that cycle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you internalize it, and it's like I don't know. It's like you see your parents' pain, and you take that in and you want to almost like you can't help but, put that pain out there for the next generation after you.
Yeah.
When Charlemagne says, "Hurt people hurt people."
Yeah. And that's a true thing.
It's very true.
Very true, yeah.
Especially when it comes to like relationships breaking up.
Miserable company, so
Yeah.
try to make miserable.
But man, when you get relationships broken up, there's a lot of feelings hurt when that, no matter what happened. I guess, there are scenarios where the parents actually can be mature about it. And
Well, I think it even hurts more because they're invested in that. They got kids in it. There's a whole lot more emotionally, I feel, behind that than just losing someone. Especially if the other party doesn't want it to end.
Well, that's too. I mean, you've seen that. You see that at any time, even if there's no kids involved with the relationships ending. If one person isn't ready for it to be over, that's when it can get a little
That's
hairy.
scary. Yeah, that's a scary
know?
situation there.
And it's not. I'm not even saying to the worst case scenario where it becomes like a stalker situation or something like that.
No.
But just one person, you won't leave the other person alone. Like, come on, like give it another chance. It's like that desperation.
It could lead to something bad.
I just wanted to give every side of it because I'm like, there's that side too. So.
Yeah, now add kids to the situation. Forget about it.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, was there ever any resentment though? Like when you did meet your dad, like I gotta assume that there was a long talk that went down.
I think he was expecting us to really just curse the hell out of him, and we really didn't give him what he was asking for at all. Like that was the whole thing about it. I think he was waiting for us to just beat him up.
Well, at that point we were 18 too, so it's like, I mean, I really like you carry yourself a little differently. Like when you're a kid, you thinking you're gonna do all these things when you're a kid, and then it's totally different.
We
when
were
you're
pretty
an
mature.
Like your brain is thinking differently when you're a kid. Like I felt like I was more resentful when I was a kid.
I can
than
imagine
than as I got older.
Was-
because as a kid, you're missing all these things that are supposed to be like these life shaping and molding things, that kids have, like these special birthday parties at these certain ages, or certain things that happen at these ages with sports. Like people get things like we didn't have it, but because we don't follow religion, but people have like the confirmation or thing. Like I'm just giving examples, things that people experience in life that you would want your parent to be there for when you're a kid. That's probably the stuff I resented the most. I had we both played football. That was the biggest thing that we had as going for us as kids, and it was something we were really passionate about. And that you want both your parents to be there at the game.
Of course.
And we did. We had both our parents there at the game, in a sense. But I mean, at the same time, you see everyone else. You look around and you see everyone else with their parents, and it's just one of those situations where it's like, man, I'm the odd man out.
Bottom line is at 18, I'm not, me personally, I wasn't at that age thinking about what could have been. I was ready to write them off at 18, to be honest with you. I wasn't sitting there with any resentment because I was really proud of my mom at that point. So there really wasn't any resentment because, to be honest, I don't think my mom could build herself up to what she is without having all those obstacles in the way. So at 18, you see her struggles and then where I'm at. And I'm like, all right, well, it is what it is. So I don't really think for me there was any real resentment. I wasn't thinking about it like that. For me, it was like more of I'm going to move on. And if he does decide to make his way in our lives, we'll deal with it as it comes.
That's a beautiful thing, too, because, like you hold that resentment, that anger in your heart. That's, it's like poison.
No, if anything, it just lifted my mom up into a stratosphere that he could never be in. Like,
no,
period.
Rightly so.
I don't know if it makes sense. I wouldn't say the resentment was anger. I would say it's more wonder, because you're like, I wonder this, I wonder that, like
just like that mystery.
What could be?
Yeah, but the what could be, and then you see the circumstances of where his life is, and then where I'm at. It all makes sense then. For me, there is no resentment because then I'm like, wow, my mom did such an incredible job. I'm glad I ended up.
Absolutely, you
not
guys.
saying that anyone asked for it, but
you know what?
Based on how the tables turned and where everything aligned, I'm so happy to be where.
Bro, absolutely. If you think of all the different ways things could have went sideways, the fact that you two came out as awesome as you did,
yes,
like that's a huge testament to your mom's character and her will. Well, like that's huge, man.
It's a testament to the statistic as well, because a lot of people told her she couldn't raise two boys by herself.
And people always expected us to be angry young adolescents that is just going to be constantly in trouble, and that was never really the case. It's not even really what we're built off of. My mom would never really go for that. So
we never really even got in trouble. I mean, at all, really.
See, for me, the big thing is. I talk about this on the show a lot. Like a father in a child's life, you have your mother. Obviously, you came out of your mother, so there's that. It's like a built-in bond. Yeah. That's an unbreakable thing. Like it's always going to be there, whether it gets fucked up or not. But there's always something there for your mother. But for a father, because your father is supposed to be the first person you meet, that's not. That you don't have a physical bond to. Yeah. That's your model for all of society, for every relationship you're going to have for the rest of your life. Because that's the first person you met, so you're going to base everything else off that relationship.
Yep.
So, and that's something that's going to be like changing all throughout your life. It's going to be evolving because for people who have their father in their life the whole time, that as that relationship grows and changes and you get different shit thrown in there, it's going to affect how you view every other relationship in your life. Yeah. Whether it's just a normal, like a friend or your coworker or even like a relationship. So in my case, I had a lot of issues with, honesty with my dad. So I never knew if the story I was getting was true or not.
Oh, okay.
So with that, now in hindsight, looking back, it led to me distrusting people right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because I was used to not knowing if I was being lied to or not, so I just assumed that everything was a lie unless I had hard evidence that it wasn't.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a blessing and a curse to have both parents in your life because if those parents aren't, nobody's perfect, obviously.
Yeah.
But you're going to get a little bit of what they got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's going to be traits, there's going to be things they do that are going to rub off on you whether you like it or not. And, depending on how strong of a person or how strong a character you have, you're going to have to deal with that. And you're going to have to make adjustments as needed and try to figure out a way to live with that.
That's true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do you find that there's traits you have in common with your old man?
I do, a lot. Goofy laughs.
I have a funny story behind that, too. Yeah, the laugh. One time I heard him laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone always says I have a goofy laugh. Oh, well, get over it. But
it's all right.
Yeah, I don't care. I embrace it. But
a laugh's a laugh, man.
Yeah, exactly. I heard him laugh one time, and I was just like, wow, that's where that comes from?
Yeah. It's crazy because like, in families, that genetic, there's little things that we share, even if you're not even around the person growing up.
Yeah.
Like I've had with my sister.
I never really thought that was real until
real.
Well, until I met him because we had no connection until till the day we met.
Mm-hmm. That shit is for real.
Yeah, it
big
is.
time.
It's funny. It really is.
We're very similar. My dad doesn't like to be bothered all the time. Like sometimes he just wants to be left alone. I feel like not like that. Like antisocial. I mean like.
He wants his private
time.
The
way he carries himself, but the way he does that is the same way I carry myself.
Yeah, my dad's a pretty social guy. So.
I noticed that same thing though. Like there's stuff I notice about me that, qualities that my dad had. That I think some of them are really good.
Yeah.
Some of them I fight like hell to like suppress and keep down.
Yeah.
Because I have the benefit of being able to look back on what already happened and try to learn from his mistakes. Right. You know what I mean? Like I would think that he would have learned from his father before him. Because my grandfather, his father died when he was 7. So he was basically raised by his older siblings who, they're not parents. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
So he was kind of working on just winging it as he went. So obviously there's going to be a lot of shit that he could have done a lot better.
Yeah.
And that affected my dad and my uncles and my aunt. My dad is one of 5. So and you could see that there was some issues in the family.
Yeah, of course.
But listen, if they listen to it,
everyone's family is not perfect, so you're not standing alone on that.
So
I feel like everyone's family's got that one thing going on. Like,
everybody's family's fucked up somehow.
No matter what, man.
Even the most uptight, straight-laced people.
Man, pictures worth 1,000 words, and the pictures hide things, man. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, get the fuck. We go to church every Sunday. We're Lutheran, and we have Thanksgiving dinner. It's like, get the fuck out of here. You guys are probably freaks behind closed doors.
In the wee nights, someone's arguing behind closed doors somewhere about something.
They're probably brawling on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably sleeping with each other's spouses. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along, but...
Hey, man, we're in relationships. I mean, or have been in relationships. People have disagreements and arguments, so that's not to say that it's not going to happen. Exactly. So we've all experienced it, so we know it happens.
Yeah, that's one of the crazy things, though, about family. Like, I mean, I've seen some of the worst shit that one human being could do to another human being, and it's family members.
Yeah.
Like shit that I wouldn't do to like an enemy.
Man, I don't even. I feel like we're probably in the same paragraph sentence. Everything word with this one. I just feel like we're cut from a different cloth with that. There's things that I feel like, and me and him always joke about it when I feel like people ask things or say things, they're like, man, that person's bold. Yeah. Like, you're bold. Like,
God damn, bro. If this was somebody other than family, we'd be...
Yeah.
It's become the blows right now.
But
the thing would be, though, especially especially with us, I mean, it would be family members we didn't know that long. That, you know, and it's like, wow.
That's tough.
It's
Yeah,
nice
I mean, like I
And
said,
they know
nice
this is
introduction
the
to
thing.
this.
They know we didn't grow up with much.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
still try to take advantage of us. So it's crazy.
it's always something stupid like that. Like, you know, an uncle, he's got his son is a junior, so his son's got the same name. So he's working under the son's social security number.
That's
You know, to hide some money from the tax man. It's like, come on, man. That's your own kid.
Like I said, people are bold. They're bold. They're out there.
people using their kids' credit.
Yeah.
Running into
Yeah.
the dirt.
That's like some stuff I can think of even doing.
I've heard of that multiple times from multiple different people and like from all different like walks of life too.
Sucks because that kid is screwed for life.
Yeah, like,
Credit's everything
If
in
you
this
love
world.
you love this kid, like you're gonna set them up to fail. You're gonna set them up to have to carry your burden now.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, you know, the things that your parents did in their life is gonna somehow come back and affect
it comes
you.
back in some. It's like it's
Yeah.
karma.
Yeah. But it's like it's repaid on our head, something that we didn't even have anything to do with.
I agree.
It's some,
I don't feel like that's a real thing to some degree. I mean,
Sometimes when you look at it from a mob mentality, if you did something
like if
wrong,
there's
your
someone
whole
that wants
family would get
to,
whacked.
I'm just saying, if there's someone that's going for revenge,
So he
yeah.
does have a
but I
point.
mean, in the laws of nature, I don't think that a innocent bystander really gets the karma end of
well, the
that.
problem is it's like a guilty by association thing. It's like that's your dad.
That's exactly.
Well, yeah, that's someone's
they
revengeful.
can't
I'm
get-
talking about from like a nature like the laws of nature standpoint. That's not going to happen.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like in like thinking like
But-
real life, your dad runs up all kinds of credit card debt and then croaks.
Oh well, yeah, he did.
And guess what? That's on you now.
Yeah.
You
you're
get
missing
kidnapped
that
or
point.
something. Next thing you know, it's a ransom or something.
Next of
I get
kin.
it. Yeah.
Shit, I got some family members. If someone wanted to kidnap them, I'd be like, "You promise you're not going to bring them back?" And then
Oh,
see
man.
now, this is something that I've been kind of chewing over in my head for a while now, and so people say like family is that one bond that you can't break. It's family. We're blood.
I think
you know
that's
what I mean?
bullshit.
That's my thing.
It depends.
I
That's
think
my
it's
opinion.
total bullshit. I think it's something we tell ourselves. It's like that tribal mentality. It's like we're from the same
I
group,
think-
so
I
we need to
think-
cherish that.
Like you were saying before, I think the family part of it makes people feel like they could treat you a certain way because
Yeah.
of that title.
Absolutely.
And I, especially in our family, I'm not letting any of that fly. You're gonna treat me how I want to be treated, and vice versa. Like you got to put good energy in the air if that's what you want to get back. And for me, families, you got to be good. Like you got to want to spend time, do things, go out of your way to do things, look out for each other. If those things aren't in your repertoire, then I don't really know how you could call that person family. 'Cause
Exactly.
How do you involve them in things in your life? How?
Like if family's supposed to be so important, how are you going to treat this person like shit? You know, you're treating this person like you would treat like a bum on the street. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And I have
you want
friends
to take
that-
advantage. You want to say horrible things and expect that they're just going to forgive and forget.
Yeah.
Like, nah, man, that's not going to fly.
And I have friends that do a better job than family does.
Yeah, and you know why? Because you
Of
get to
checking
pick
in.
your friends.
Yeah.
If it was a friend that was being shitty and fucking you over,
Oh,
you
then
could
you
just
could
be like,
get
all right,
rid of 'em.
Yeah,
Bye."
bye. I don't need you. So why can't we do that with family? Just because we have similar DNA?
Trust me.
Like I've
it's
cut
not
off
that.
family members.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, see, not for me. Like it wasn't hard to cut off certain family members.
Yeah.
And I felt bad about it at first, but the more I think about it, the less bad I feel.
No, because you start thinking about, well, what do they really bring to my life?
Yeah.
And then you really evaluate that, and you're like, well, it was the same as it is when I cut them off. So what did I really lose?
Well, in some cases, it's better
Nothing.
because if it was somebody who was treating you shitty, then it's like you got a shitty person out of your life now.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And if all they were bringing you was drama and headaches, like what is the value in that?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Why do people tell us that? Oh, well, that's blood. Why do we have to believe that that's the thing? Because I, for one, just don't.
I
Even if you
don't.
look at
Maybe
all
I'm fucked up. I don't know.
No, you're not, because even if
I
you look
love
at
my blood, but don't get me wrong. From a young age, I looked at everyone from afar, and I seen how people move and carry themselves, and based on things I would see, that's how I would come up with my judgment, and I would learn from the mistakes that what they would do, and I would stay away from them if I seen something that was just out of pocket.
Yeah.
look at the mob movies, the medieval movies, like all these movies, or not even movies, just those times and those periods of what those people have done to each other. They all have a common theme, and a lot of them are family. When you think about it, what's the downfall of everything that happens in these organizations? Family.
Yeah. Well,
Family tears family down. In medieval times, family would kill family to take overthrow the throne and stuff.
Medieval
Yeah,
times?
that's what I'm saying though. But this just goes back to days of time.
Yeah.
You know, this is not new. This has been happening forever. I think, again, family gives you that title of thinking that you could do whatever you want.
It's like people think of like family as almost like a something they can hide behind. It's like, well, no, I'm family, so I couldn't screw you.
It's like a mask, yeah.
Yeah.
They get the benefit of the doubt because of the title.
Well, I just don't understand why people think that just because we're related, thinks you're going to get a free pass on treating me like a decent human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I never understood that. Why I could see a family member treat me like I'm some piece of shit, like I'm half a Momo, and meanwhile they got the guy across the street that would, break their back for him.
I've seen some stuff like that.
I got a friend who will do stuff.
That's an Italian
some
thing.
stuff.
I don't know about other cultures. That's an Italian thing. They love this guy across the street. They go out there, pet the guy's dog, they mow his lawn, they paint his house for him. If it's me, I ask for a cup of juice, and go fuck yourself.
I got a friend who will break his back for all friends and family of family, and won't do squat for his own pops.
I see that too many times. But that's one of the things, though.
And in all fairness, maybe his pops asked for a lot out of him, but it's like with anyone else, drop of the dime. When his dad calls, it's like I got to check on some things before I get back to you, type of deal.
You know what?
It's not immediate.
One thing I'm going to say in regards to that is when it comes to family, because there's usually a lot of history there, from an outside perspective, like if it's one of us looking at somebody else's situation, like, yo, why you treat your moms like that? We might not know the history there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I used to go to people's houses and I would never, man, I'd be picking my teeth up off the floor if I talked to my mom the way some of these people would talk to their parents when I was a kid.
There's not enough fear. There's not enough fear.
Yeah. Maybe that's the thing. She was able to instill that kind of fear more than, which is crazy because a lot of men grew up telling her that she couldn't raise boys. She's able to instill that kind of fear in boys even up to manhood. So,
it's, you know what?
I think women have that ability. It depends on the type of woman you're dealing with.
Yeah, it depends on the woman too.
Because there are some women that should be feared. I don't know. I mean,
dragon ladies out there.
I 100% agree with that. Some Khaleesi's, I'm not even playing.
There was a thing they were saying that if you're like a man raised by a single mom, a lot of times they say, oh well,
say a lot of negative things.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times single moms get a bad rap, but there's certain things that are just out of their control.
Yeah, and out of the child's control for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for having a positive male role model in a young boy's life. You know what I mean? So they like to say, these kids, they do this, they do that. This is masculinity run amok. This is what toxic masculinity is. These guys out there, they're doing all this stuff. They're harassing women and acting
I think that's what sports helped us with.
Well, that's
discipline and all that stuff.
But my point is that people like to say that that's toxic masculinity. I think that's a lack of real masculinity. You know what I mean? Because if those kids don't have a positive male role model, then they have no idea of what being a man really is, and that's when you see all that, all that fuckery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like I don't want to.
I agree.
I'm not certainly not trying to obviously.
No, it happens. I watched the whole video of a lady in a barbershop with her kid acting like a nut job, and there was no masculinity there. There just wasn't. Like the kid was running all over her.
Because I'm saying, like, there's a lot of women who would say, "I don't need a man to raise a child," and all this stuff.
Makes my point though.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, okay, you don't need it.
You don't. Yeah, I was gonna say you don't.
You
kind of do.
But it helps.
Yeah, you don't need brakes on your car, but it kind of helps.
Well, the male part of it is the violence aspect of it. Women aren't known to be violent, but if you got to discipline a child, listen, this is what I'm trying to say. I don't mean like naturally. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. I was gonna say from
do them dirty. You see what they do.
Yeah, you're right. They don't come off that way though.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
It's not a feminine.
Thing. They hide that very well.
Yeah.
They hide it well, but the face value of what you're getting is that they're gentle, they're kind, etc. Mm-hmm. So when they bring that, I feel like, or if they don't, lack of raising a child, I feel like it depends though. Like today's mothers, they don't want to use any discipline or violence. I'm not not foretelling anybody what they're going to do with their child. That's not my thing. That's not what this is all about. Do whatever you want. I feel like to some degree, and I'm not saying that all kids need it, but some kids may need some type of discipline where they may not understand verbal clarity of what the situation is.
If you're a kid, your brain isn't fully developed yet. You can only talk to a kid so much before it's not going to sink in.
And I'm not saying abuse a child.
Of course not.
There's a whole nother. That's a whole nother channel of
I don't consider what I.
That's not even discipline. It's abuse.
Abuse.
No. I'm not even talking about abuse. I'm not even talking about hitting your kid. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying that when it's a kid, you can only talk so much before it's not going to sink in anymore.
Absolutely.
So that's why I say like the fear is good because it helps a kid keep themselves in check a little
discipline
bit.
Discipline.
You don't even have to hit a kid. You don't have to do anything like that.
Discipline can be punishment. Like, you're not getting this for whatever, or for how long.
If a kid has no fear of consequences,
I'm taking things away in a heartbeat if I can't put my hands
without
on
intimidation and there's no fear in that child's heart, man, you're in trouble. I just have to say that because there's so much opportunity for that kid to get in trouble. He's gonna go off the rails. Yeah,
and it's just as with everything in life, there's a balance. You don't want your kid to be, shaking in the corner as soon as you walk in the room.
I also don't want my kid kicking my ass either.
Oh yeah, well. You think twice before you give your kids karate
Kicking
lessons.
my head in, talking about who's daddy now. I'm like, no, I don't want to be that guy on the floor looking up like, what just happened?
I want to make sure when I take my son for karate lessons, I have to size up the sensei first. Like, can I take this motherfucker? Because I can't have him teaching my kids some stuff that I can't figure out.
Yeah, that's all it's about. And it's just not even about there's no violence in it. It's, look, I'm the leader. I'm the head. Mm-hmm. I'm running the show.
It's tough, man. As a dad raising a boy, there's always going to be that point when you're going to butt heads. It's going to be, why should I listen to you?
But this is the thing. I think you make a great point because my dad could never say that to me.
Yeah, that's the situation.
It's different situations, different circumstances. Like if your dad was there from day one all the way to now, he could definitely probably say that. If he's been to everything that could be important in your life, from games to little league games to recitals, whatever is important in your life, if they were there and they followed through and they're still in your life right now, they have every right to say that.
See, I was in a tough spot because my biological father was a martial arts instructor.
Okay.
So, am I going to talk shit to him?
Stop saying
Say whatever. It's a podcast. It's all right. We're not giving a commencement speech here. No. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I get what you're saying, though.
What am I going to say? Yeah, I have to. That was real fear.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see that can cause resentment too. Like the relationship with a father and a son. When you, as a father, if you're there the whole time, and you're watching the kid grow up, it's a different relationship.
Yeah.
Like you said, and you're watching the kid go from being a boy to a man.
Absolutely.
And as when you become a man, natural instinct is to buck against the system. He's like, I'm my own man. I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
He's like, not under my house, no son of mine, blah, 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 blah. We all know how it goes.
Yep.
We all know how it goes. All right. Anybody ready for a refill?
Yeah, I'll take another one.
All right. I'm going to pause real quick.
I'm in.
All right, we're back. Sorry, we had to go refill. We gotta lube the pipes up a little bit here.
Heck yeah.
Gotta lube up the emotions.
I'm getting a little parched.
So, now, one of the things we talked about, we recognize the fact that our parents are not perfect. In most cases, they were young when they had us.
Oh, yeah.
We think, we know we were young. We didn't always make the best decisions.
Yeah, but another thing we also have to point out is that we remember what that feels to be like at that age. So we know that mindset, we know that mindset. So
of course,
when you're that age,
we remember it wasn't that long ago for some of us.
Tough. Nope. So actually living through it, it's like, all right, I get it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I know I could look back.
Not 100%, but
yeah, I could look back in my 20s and
I
I could have done some things a little differently. I know. So
yeah, same here.
We always got to keep that little amount of leeway.
I was pretty bad, so
I was a
lot of credit.
I was a giant pussy from my teenage years until probably about 24, 25. That's when I decided I was going to straighten up. But one of the things I want to talk about next is that we know that there's going to be similarities, going to be traits we have in common with our parents that are going to be genetic. Mm-hmm. There's nothing really you can do about that.
Yeah.
How true do you think it is that that we're kind of almost doomed to become our parents?
Definitely not. And no disrespect to my dad. I could just never see how I could turn into him. The way he's living now, he's content. He's fine.
Not only that, he didn't raise us. So my mom raised us to be a certain way.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to him. We were just raised to think differently. I mean, my mom's got a lot of street smarts and stuff like that. And my dad does too, like 100%.
Like my level of achievement, or our level of achievement in our mind, is just like, it's up there.
Yeah, the way she made us kind of strive for things, it's just different. I don't know.
But what do you think, like, personality-wise? Because obviously there's some stuff that we do subconsciously.
Yeah, but a lot of
you know?
it comes from her subconsciously because of how we carry ourselves. Like, just because of the way that we've been under her wing to learn things.
To be honest, they're kind of similar
like
when it comes to personality in a sense.
Your mom and dad?
Well, yeah, because when we're talking about like,
my dad's more nice. My mom's on the straight up, like, very blunt with you. Keep it 100. Not gonna lie to you. If she doesn't like you, probably gonna know it.
my dad will keep it straight. He'll just be nicer about it.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. They'll both
She's-
be real with you. My dad will just come off way nicer about it.
She wouldn't be so.
My mom will
nice.
just be like blunt, and like that's it. You know, your heart will like drop or like you'll feel like
There won't
real
be
hurt.
any questions in your mind.
No.
real hurt.
Like, listen,
but
I
it's the
fucked
truth.
this whole thing up. I might as well leave.
It's the real truth.
None
And
at
if you
all.
don't feel like that, you know something's wrong. From her.
Because there's definitely a balance. Because that's one thing I've learned. If I've learned anything about our parents, is my dad is definitely one way, and my mom is definitely wired another way. Is complete polar opposites.
So you think you're more like him or her?
Her,
Her?
for sure.
What do you think, Rashaun?
I think I'm more like my mom, to be honest. But I mean, I look like her too more.
Well, how much?
Two of us.
How much do you think it comes from life experience versus genetics? You know what I mean? Like, how much do you think? Because obviously you can.
I say 90%
Well, you know
90%.
what? To be honest,
Which way?
life experiences.
Okay.
I will say I take that back. It's 50-50, kind of. Because I feel like there's a lot of things that I take from my mom that are like really great qualities, but there's also some great qualities I take from my dad. My dad is very adventurous when it comes to food. My mom's not. So, and that's one thing we like.
yeah,
we
I
like to
didn't
try
think about
new
that.
things. Yeah, he didn't think about that. I
would
thought
probably,
about it.
I would probably say 60-40. I would
Yeah,
probably,
probably
say
like a 60-40. Because, like I said, when we met him, I started to discover things about him and just start to piece things together. And I was just like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. So, looking back at it, I take that back. It's more of like definitely like a 60-40. Because now that I'm an adult and I've seen some things and experienced some things with him, it's like, all right.
Like, he loves cars. He loves, like,
there's
reckless
things,
stuff that
there's
we
things
love.
I take. I rebuilt a boat. I took that completely from him. Like, he's done that before. Like, so that's exactly why I had to catch myself there.
See, in my experience, the way I came
I don't think
to
you
think
realize
of
it
it,
either.
I think that there's a lot that's genetic. I actually think it's more genetic than life experience. But what I think is that certain types of experiences in your life will bring out those different traits.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
something might have happened to one of your parents that made them, have to discover a part of themselves. Because all that stuff's either in there or it's not. You know what I mean? So what I think is that in some cases, maybe a parent might go through something traumatic in their life, and that kind of molds their personality, who they are. But if a kid might have the same thing in them, but they never went through that same trauma, so it was never brought out.
No.
You know what I mean?
I understand.
Because
that.
I've seen, from one thing that maybe like my dad a way he might have been, and a way one of my sisters might have been, and they have completely different upbringings. But when, if they get pushed or something, their back's against the wall, I see the same trait come out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even though their life experience has been completely different. Not to mention one's a man, one's a woman.
See, that's crazy because my mom grew up with her brother, and they had the same life experiences, and they're exact opposites.
Well, look at me and my sister.
Saying even if the going gets tough, though, is what I'm trying to tell you. There's, like you say, these certain things come out. It's completely different reactions from. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you guys know my sister. Like, look at how different me and her are.
Yeah.
And we literally grew up right next to one another.
Yeah.
We're only a year apart. I mean, we're not as close as you guys, obviously.
No,
but
I understand. Yeah.
You have the same experiences. Actually, that's not even true. That's not true because it's not the same experience, especially when it comes to, with the divorced family.
Yeah.
We had very different relationships with the same two parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand
So
that.
I know that with my dad, my relationship with him was totally different than his relationship with her.
Okay.
So yeah, no names.
No, that's what I just caught myself.
It'll never be this.
It's sorry. Anything if it slips, we can cut it out. Don't worry.
I have to agree with that too. I mean, to like a degree, like I could see that. Mm-hmm. But don't you think that kind of plays on the fact that like you're male and she's a female?
I think
that's different.
The situation is different because of that. Yeah. I think because he did stuff with me that he wouldn't do with her.
Okay.
So, like for instance,
why do you think he would do those things with her?
Let me kind of
elaborate. I felt like.
So I told you my father was a martial arts instructor. So we would go see him for the weekends. What I would do is I would always be with him. I would help him teach classes. When I got older, I actually lived with him for a couple of years. My job was to be an instructor at his dojo. And even before that, when we would go to visit, we would wake up on Saturday morning and I would have to go with him to go do the class. I was, like 14 years old in the adult class. I had no choice. That was just what I had to do.
Yeah.
But now my sister stayed with my stepmom. So we would be, we would go down to visit him for every other weekend. But I would be here spending all this time
You're basically
with him.
working.
Yeah, but my sister wasn't even with him. So it creates a totally different type of relationship. Whereas in her mind, she didn't get to have the relationship with him the same way I did. But in my mind, it was forced, and in a lot of cases, it was negative. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of times I don't look back on fondly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
doesn't sound like it was all fun.
Yeah.
No, it certainly wasn't all fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain things that are invaluable lessons I learned in that process. But you know what I mean? Like you could be from the same house, but something small like that makes a huge difference in two people's lives.
Yeah. So it's two different relationships.
Yeah, and it was totally different with the same parent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, two different relationships. That's not a position that kids should be put in at all.
Yeah, and let me just be clear. Like there's nothing I'm saying here to disparage, many of my sisters, of which I have 6.
Yeah.
But I want to be clear. Like I'm not saying any names. I'm not putting anybody's
understood.
Business out there.
Totally understand.
But yeah, and I'm not saying that anyone is worse off for it. It's just a different experience. You know what I mean?
And everyone has a different experience. Everyone experiences things differently too. So
yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, it's tough. I mean, I don't want to say I'm envious of you guys, but to an extent I am, that you guys have such a good relationship. Because, like I said, man, family's hard. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this.
I think we make it look good, though.
Well, you do. I mean, shit.
I look at it this way because we didn't have our father, so we had to have each other's back a little more. Mm-hmm. So I feel like
there were a lot of moments where it was just literally me and him. Mm-hmm. Like that's it. Like in a
my
bad
mom
place, in a bad because there were my mom grew up in Newark, so there were times where we would have to stay with family friends out there. And shit got rough. Yeah. I'll just keep it like that. And from being children, from being two little kids from the suburbs, because it really wasn't the suburbs at that point. We were in Piscataway going to highly diverse daycares and all that. We get out there, it's like a war. So. And it's just
the Portuguese kids have been talking shit, man.
No, not there. not in these parts. Not in the parts of North.
Oh man, no, these
that's parts. Like down neck.
But those are the moments where we had to look at each other and be like, no matter what happens, we got to look out for each other. Yeah. Those, I think, what made the bond even tighter is sitting out there in those rough spots.
Yeah, and I took. I mean, even though it's 12 minutes, I kind of took that 12 minutes as the older brother thing. So I had his back. Like,
I didn't care about any of that. I just looked at him as my brother. We just had to look out for each other.
Like I said, man.
I said.
The other thing too is very different with brothers, with males, because obviously with brothers and sisters, you have that whole. Sometimes you get the stereotypically there's that protective vibe. Where that's my sister. Don't fuck with my sister.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if it's a big sister, little brother, it's weird. It's a different vibe too.
It's like you see red if anything starts happening to them. Period. Yeah. It's just listen. If you see somebody wailing on your sisters or whatever, you're not thinking about.
Well, not even
exactly.
Yeah, not even wailing on that because anytime like a guy sees a girl,
whatever it is though, whether it's a brother or a sister. Mm-hmm. If you see something happening to them to where it looks all bad,
you're not thinking about anything other than to diffuse that and take care of whoever is doing that harm.
But here's where it gets a little hairy, because what if the brother and sister don't have a good relationship? Because I know me and my sister.
I think if the shit really hits the fan, if you saw something happening to her, you wouldn't turn away.
No, I'm not going to disagree.
I think that might make a bond stronger, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
she does need to get her ass kicked, and you save her one day to be like, you know what? I need him in my life.
You know, my problem is
I'm not saying that shit happen.
No, yeah, we're not advocating for violence against
I'm
women.
not saying that, especially to get trust. No,
we are all allies on this podcast. Any ladies listening, this is a very progressive show. No, but you know what though? Like in this case, because like for instance, me and my sister that you know, we're very close in age, but we're very different in personality.
absolutely.
So, and we had, our rivalry between one another was pretty serious, especially in the high school years. Yeah. So, as much as that's the thing, it gets tough, man. Like I'm sure if anything had happened, I would have stepped in, but
I think so.
It just, it gets tough because there's supposed to be that bond there as family, but if you don't even like each other,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It leaves you in a weird place.
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't even want to be around the person sometimes. And it's hard. I mean, as you get older, I know when you're a teenager, the emotions and hormones and stuff, and teenagers are just terrible people in general usually. But a lot of times, though, like if the relationship gets damaged at that age, especially that's a very...
it's like young age.
It's a very important age in a human being's life because that's... it's a very developmental stage.
Yeah.
It's you're developing who you are as a person.
Yeah, mine is still young.
Yeah,
it's not processed.
And sometimes when there's like hurt there, it never goes away. It always stays with you, and it's hard to kind of forget about the stuff that happens to you. And when it comes from a family member, it's even harder. And as much as you want to, some people like myself, I have problems with this myself. I want to let go of resentment or make bad blood maybe, and I have a hard time with it.
The only way you can do that is by facing that and talking about that with that individual.
But it's tough because I know myself, I'm kind of an oddball. I'm a weird dude. I don't really fit in with
but that's fine though, but at least you can get it off your chest. At least you can get it off your chest.
No, that's true.
That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
You don't have to live with that resentment or whatever is inside of you because you can just get it out. Life is short, so a lot of that woulda, coulda, shoulda, it doesn't fly, every year that goes by for me now, especially. So if something's on my mind or if something's bothering me or something, I feel like in my life where I didn't address it, I'm addressing it.
And not only that, being that this podcast is about family, I mean, there's a whole lot of things that me and him always look at each other and say, man, we would do this differently. Our families would be this much tighter than they are. Like, it's all these things we keep saying. And, and I want to make sure that those things come to fruition because, I mean, we didn't experience that ourselves. And I would love for my future children to experience that, like, point blank period. So
if you could, this is something I always think about. If you could go back and change something, hypothetically, would you really? Like, would you want to be in a different place than you are right now?
To be honest, because I'm kind of happy how everything turned out.
I feel the same way.
That's why I said I don't really have resentment with where things were.
I wouldn't change anything.
I don't think I would be who I am, and I want to be who I am right now.
I would take the same path. I would meet my dad at the same age. I wouldn't change anything, and I don't hope I hope that wouldn't be something that he takes an offense. But I'm just happy how everything is.
But what's crazy to
felt
me
like
is
it happened for a reason.
Single motherhood is glorified now because they have TV shows on them. But I remember when my mom was getting, the business ridiculed.
There wasn't no
negative
teen mom
back then.
Yeah, absolutely, got teen mom and.
But that's why I had to also mention that because I'm like, no matter. That's why there is no resentment. You got girls who are celebrities for being single moms now. My mom
wasn't even a teenager when she had us. So.
No,
how old was she?
19.
19. Okay.
She was a teenager. So she's 19.
No, I thought she was
teenage
20.
years. She's 19.
Pretty sure 19 is a teenager.
I thought she was 20.
It's 19.
I thought it was 20.
You're born in 86. She's born in 66. Do the math. That's 19, bro.
My mom was 22. She was a few months older than my dad when they had me, and I was an accident. That's a fucked up thing to find out too. You find out that you were an accident because your pops lied to your mom.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
My mom never said that to me though. So my mom never told us that we were accidents.
I found out I don't think it was intended for me to hear it that way. It just kind of came out.
Even if it was, I don't think she would ever let my ears hear that.
Well, it's not. You know what it is? It's
whether it was an accident. I'm not sure if it was.
Mm-hmm.
But that's messed up.
It's a little weird. I mean, I don't think it changes who I am as a person. So
No.
I'm not one of those people. I'm not like a victim or anything.
You
You know?
decide to sleep with somebody unprotected and you have a kid. That's not a mistake. You kind of know what you're up against.
Well, it's a mistake when one person tells the other person that they can't have kids. And the pop says, no, I'm sterile. I can't have kids.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty dirty.
That's a dirty game, but
And then you find out he did it more than once.
Wow.
Yeah.
you got to be pretty gullible to believe that, though.
Listen, you know.
People got choices.
It was the 80s. It was the 80s. Who knows what people
Yeah, I was
believe.
going to say, that's also different times, so.
To some people,
probably way
Chewbacca
more-
was still real back
That's
then.
when Quaaludes were still popping.
People were probably way more savage then than they are now.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah, it really is.
People now are fucked up.
I know. And I mean, like, looking back, I mean, people were fucked up then too.
Yeah.
I kid you not. Like, you hear stories, and like I said, when you're a kid, you don't think nothing of it. But when you start looking back and you start piecing all that stuff together, and you're like, your late 20s, early 30s, you're like, shit. Damn, that's what that meant. You're a scumbag. Like, you just start, like, reflecting on stuff like that. And it's random as hell, too.
Isn't it crazy? You just look at somebody totally different.
Yeah. It's random as hell. It comes at you at a random time. You know, you'll just be sitting somewhere thinking, like, doing something, and maybe you'll have a memory from that time when you're a
flashes
kid.
back. Somebody
You're
said
like,
something to you.
You're like, hold on a second.
That's what that motherfucker
Yeah,
meant?
yeah. It's like you have one of those moments.
I've had that, too. Like
I've had plenty of those.
As a kid.
Plenty of those. Like that's what I'm saying. And it makes you look at people way differently.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's like, hold on a second. What? I would never do that. Like, you just start, your whole morality comes into play.
It's crazy because I think of myself. I mean, I think everybody likes to think of themselves in the best possible way. I mean, but some stuff, like, I remember of my childhood and things that were said to me, like things I saw, and I'm like, God damn, like, what kind of person would do something like that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Not me.
I'm glad my mom didn't make my mind develop to do those type of things to people. So.
People would probably call me stupid, but I have one of those, the way my mom raised me, and I wouldn't do it, don't get me wrong, but part of me, like, if I did something and it was like a bad crime, and I'm standing up for it, man. I'm guilty. Because that's the way I was raised.
Actions.
Yeah, that's the way I was raised.
Well, that's what I'm trying to teach my son now.
Well, I'm not getting in trouble in the first place.
Well,
so.
that's the whole point of what I was
as a
just.
kid, there's always something. Whether you didn't throw your trash away.
No, there was.
You broke the lamp.
I probably did things worse than that, but I'm just saying, as an adult, there's no. I'm not getting anything from those risks nowadays. So.
Now you guys never had a stepdad or anything, right?
No, I have a stepdad. We got a stepdad.
Yeah. How's your relationship with him?
Awesome.
He's
He's been around for a long time. I was 8th grade. What is that? 13, 14?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been to all of my football games.
Solid dude.
Solid
Solid
guy.
guy.
All my graduations.
Love him, man.
High school, college.
It's a tough spot, man.
It is a tough spot, but he wore the pants and he never complained or said anything.
To be honest,
that would ever have you give you any doubts. He never gave you any doubts.
Yeah, he was in my life before my father, so
Which is crazy because he was there from, like I said, an early adolescent age. 13 to 14 is pretty critical. You're coming up,
Absolutely.
Puberty.
Yeah.
Start asking questions about a whole lot of things.
That's when the important conversations happen.
Yeah, no, exactly.
My mom gets 1,000% credit, but he gets some credit in the sense that he did, you learn certain stuff from men that you're not going to learn from women.
Absolutely.
And my
And
mom,
he definitely taught us that stuff, and he taught us the right way. We came up as, I think, stand-up gentlemen. I mean, this guy is like, he's A1, man. Like, I love him.
Did he have any kids of his own?
No, he considers us his own, and we consider him the same way.
See, that's the boat I'm in right now.
Yeah.
I'm a stepdad. I had a stepdad. My stepdad was a great dude. He, like they said, he was there for all that
I'll
stuff.
fight for that man.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious.
are you
I'm
kidding
talking
me?
like real fight. Like, I will really fight for that
not
guy.
that this would happen if bottles are flying in the club. I'm the first person.
Like,
I'll
I'm the
jump
first
in the way.
person. I'm the first
there.
person right there for him. Period. Like, no hesitation.
But I think for all three of us, that's that recognition of, what it takes to be the stepdad to be the guy
That's
who's
what I'm
raising,
saying too.
raising someone else's kids.
It takes a real man.
a lot of strength of character to step in and do that.
It takes a real man to take two that aren't his and make them his.
But with that character,
sure.
he earns a lot.
I'm not even saying the number thing matters. I'm just saying like
It matters.
yeah.
But
it matters.
but he gains a lot with that. He gains a whole lot of trust with that, and a whole lot of accolades, and a whole lot of. He's behind the scenes. He doesn't want any credit. That's what shows you that it's really genuine. It's really pure, and that's what makes it. That's what makes you want to go to bat for.
The thing that makes me happy is when he talks to his family, which I consider my family, of course. He talks to them like we're like we've known.
He's
each other
proud of
forever.
us. Like
yeah,
he's
proud of,
he's been there,
and I'm really proud of that. It really makes me happy to hear him talk about us like that because we value
high school buddies, college buddies. I ain't gonna cut you off.
No, it's okay. We value him the same exact way.
That's a great feeling too. Like when I used to box and we all went to the same gym.
Yep.
I would take videos and send them to my dad. Like, hey, I'm coming for you. Watch out.
Yeah.
So and I found that my mom was like, yeah, he's showing all his buddies your videos. Like, really? Like, it makes you feel good.
Yeah,
know
it
what I mean?
does.
Like, especially
because you get that inclusion. You do. You get that.
Yeah.
You're getting a bond. You getting that.
It shows that you're a priority in his life too.
Yes.
Yeah, that validation.
That's really cool because like I said, man, it's like.
We grew up a lot of our lives not really having man really like care about us. Like,
you don't get to choose your father, and I love my biological father, but I love my stepfather. Like I love him a lot because I mean, like you said, man, he takes one thing it takes a real stand up guy to make children that aren't his theirs, and I mean just the way he did it, man. I admire it. Like. It was never a moment where it was like, "You're not my dad." It was never a moment like that, and he could check us too.
You guys are good kids. Like I know, not all kids make it easy.
If we got disrespectful though, he
could check us. He could trust me, and I would sit there and take it
especially when we were younger,
because he carried himself like a true gentleman, man. There's no when you're in the wrong. When he would check you, when he would check you, you're in the wrong.
Because it's hard to get him mad. First off,
point blank period. It's really hard to get that guy mad.
So when he would see something that he didn't like, he just come in the room and be like, "Look."
Yeah, he would pull you aside and be like, "Look, this is
shit's gotta stop."
Look, I don't say much, but I don't like how y'all handle that situation.
Yeah, he'll say
something about it because I don't like how that.
It's more impactful too.
Yeah, exactly, because he doesn't say much at all.
See, for me, in my case, because now my son, his father's far away. It's just it's a matter of distance, so he can't be there all the time. So that that responsibility really does fall on me.
Yeah,
and that's something I learned quick. Like there is no days off. Like,
you got to be there. For everything.
Yeah,
and everything you do matters too.
Yep.
Whether it's
they retain everything.
If I'm sitting on the couch, I get home, I'm tired one day. I just want to look at the phone. I just want to read a couple articles or something like that.
He might want
he wants to tell me about everything that he thought of about Pokemon today. He wants to tell me about everything he saw on YouTube, everything that his friends at school said to him. And my first reaction is like, bro, just give me a couple minutes. You know what I mean? Like let me breathe.
You sound like that would be
that's
me.
the young us.
That sounds like that would be me.
That's the young me.
Yep.
It's
but
me.
Then that
we wanted to talk all the time.
Yeah. Then that other voice in my head comes in like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like,
chill out.
He's just a kid. He doesn't know you're tired, and it doesn't matter to him. All that matters to him is that now he's trying to talk to dad, and dad doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So it's work because it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am tired. Sometimes I haven't had a chance to sit down since 5 a.m. And that's the responsibility that you signed up for.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do it, you better do it.
You're right.
It makes you really appreciate what the stepdads that did a good job.
Yeah.
It makes you really appreciate them and really look up to them.
And I know I talked his damn ear
I was
off.
gonna say there are probably times where he's just
Now that
like,
you
but
brought
now
that up,
the conversations are
they're way
hella
more
engaging.
mature, but
Yeah.
I mean, man, I can't even imagine what was going on in his mind when I was just. But that's so funny that you just said that because I just started thinking like, wow.
See, now my son lucked out because now I'm a giant nerd. With big part of the podcast is nerd shit. But he happens to love Marvel
number
movies.
2 right here.
Yeah, he loves, like I said, the
number 3.
Pokemon. So he'll come and talk to me because he knows that I know about it too. So I understand what he's saying. If he talks to his mom, she's like, "Yeah, okay, that sounds like you might as well be speaking Chinese to me." But to me, I'm the one that's going to get it in the house. So
Yeah.
it's naturally going to fall on me. Which, you know what? I want that. I want him to feel like he can talk to me.
He should be able to come to you for anything.
Yeah.
That's the trust I'm talking about.
Exactly.
And the crazy thing about you saying
I feel
that
like
is
I could talk to my
that's
stepfather
what we could do
whatever.
with our stepfather.
Period.
No matter what.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. It
How
could
many
be
people-
anything.
How many people can't talk to their actual parents, their biological parents?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And no, you could come to him knowing he's not. He'll hold
I'm
that
not
in.
I'm not a criminal by any means, but I could commit crimes and tell him and feel comfortable with it. That's not like this is a level of trust. That's all I'm saying. Not like I'm not a criminal. I'm just
I
saying.
can't wait. I can't wait till one day I get my stepdad on here because I really feel like I can,
That'd be
if
awesome.
I had a little incident, somebody had to, buy the farm, I think I could come to him. I think he'd help me hide the body.
I wouldn't have any doubts.
I wanted to say that, but I didn't want people to be like, "Oh, this guy is over here."
No, I'm not saying I would ever do it. I'm
No,
just saying,
of course not. Yeah.
God forbid something
We got
ever
Secret
happened.
Service
I was just trying to
agencies.
say the level of trust is like up there. It's
They're all
really up
listening.
there.
Yeah, I had cops. Yes, cops and Secret Service agents on here. I can't, I
That's what I'm
I
saying. We can't
didn't do
incriminate
anything.
ourselves on here.
Okay, this is all hypothetical.
Yeah, everything's hypothetical. Nothing here has happened.
A
It's
lot
all
of what ifs
fictional.
in the room.
There's a lot of fairy dust floating in the air in here in the middle of the actual table here.
Let's just say I have very
fiction.
good grass in the backyard.
So,
No, I'm kidding. Kidding.
jokes. Joking again.
All right, let me see. I got just a couple more things. Now, simple thing. What do you think is better? You think it's better to be raised as a sibling with, brothers or sisters, or as an only child?
It's
Depends.
two different points of
Depends.
view.
Depends on the parents. Depends on what, because
Yeah.
to be a single, only child, I'll dab on my tooth and then I'll let him go. All right, so this is how I feel. If you're gonna be a only child, parents got to be there, or they got to include you around a lot of kids. Because my whole take on only child is, if they only experience things that are for themselves, they become extremely selfish people. And I'm not saying growing up with siblings is everything, but it definitely makes you something different than growing up as an only child. For one, you got to learn camaraderie. You got to learn how to share. Period. Immediately. And you got to learn how to share when you go home. When you're a single child, when you're an only child and you go away to daycare, you got to share. When you go home, it's all yours. When you have siblings, it's not.
It's share at all times.
And share at all times. You're in a team mentality. So it's you developing a different bond than you develop if you're an only child.
Definitely.
I feel like.
Not
But
only
I
that-
feel like if you're an only child and you're around that, if your parents keep you around, family, cousins,
You have to
people
socialize.
that exactly socialize, keep you enough to sharing in environments to where you have to be there and you have to do that,
I agree.
you could be all right. You turn out all right.
That was the point I was just gonna make. Because when you're not around somebody all the time, it really makes you. It makes you a certain way. It molds you differently. When we grew up around each other all the time, so it's just different. I'm just used to being around him. So being around someone all the time is going to make you want some alone time.
A lot.
You know what I'm saying? And then when somebody is alone all the time, they're gonna want to be around people all the time.
Grass
Because
is always
they're-
greener.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
it's a complete. Yeah, exactly. Looking over the fence.
I always wanted my alone time. I'm one of those people that go home,
I love
go in
it.
the bedroom, lock the
I
door.
love my alone
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
I love
have
it too.
so many hobbies. Like, I mean,
I
that's
check
exactly why I
out
love
and
my
people
alone
are
time.
like, they want to check in and I'm like, I'm out. Like,
Yeah. No, listen. Sometimes people just, it's not that I don't like people. It's just sometimes they drain me.
They
I need
do.
I need to
you
recharge.
need energy and you
Yeah.
need to be ready for it. You got to prepare yourself for the energy you got to drain.
Some people, they have that open door policy to the house. Like, listen, my house is your house. Come on in. Don't even knock. That's a European, like a Hispanic thing. You see, like, listen, you come by my house, you just don't even knock. Walk right in. I'm
No, you
offended
knock
if
on
you
my
knock.
door, please.
Don't you call
Or
me
call
before.
me. Text me.
Don't call me before you come. You
Let
walk.
me prepare
Only the
myself.
closest of my closest friends
Yeah,
do that.
I'm not like that.
I got to prepare
I
myself.
want 2 weeks notice before you come to my house. No, I'm exaggerating.
I know you.
No, of course not. But if it's like one of my like one of my homies like that, I'm like,
Yeah,
just
no.
that's
certain
different.
people get the pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Certain
Mom,
people got the pass, but certain people you're definitely
grandparents,
raising your eyebrows like, what are you
immediate
doing
family.
here?
Yeah, my mom and my stepdad don't even come by without giving me a heads up first.
Oh, my parents always call.
My mom might swing by sometimes and just beep, 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 beep. I hear
See,
them.
I talk to my wife about this all the time because my wife is Cuban, so it's a very different
Yeah.
environment. And I think that's a white thing. It's like, oh, well, we want to respect your space. We want to make sure we call before we come.
They're straight up kicking the door,
Oh
waving
yeah,
the
over
4-4.
there. They walk in, they go through your cabinets and shit like that. And if you say something, you're the weird one.
No, my mom usually
hell
checks
no.
and lets me know, though. It's always respectful.
Ain't nobody going in my refrigerator and touching my stuff.
I don't even care about that. It's not in the fridge for me to care about anyone taking it.
Hey, while you're in there, why don't you clean up a little
Hey
bit?
man, I'm an adult that enjoys Capri Suns,
Yeah.
and other adults when they happen to see them in the fridge, they want them.
It tasted good when we were in school. Why can't it taste good now?
They're gonna
now.
taste good.
Yeah.
They're gonna taste good forever. That's all I gotta say. I'm never stopping.
Absolutely. Hey, and you know what? Just for any listeners out there, that that doesn't apply to all things in life. Just because you
I
like it as
still
a kid
eat tricks.
doesn't mean you can
I
like it
still
now.
eat tricks. They ain't for kids.
Oh, I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about human beings.
Oh, okay.
Any creeps with short eyes out there, don't think that's some kind of pass.
Short eyes get killed in
Hell yeah.
jail.
We do not.
I don't know.
That shit is not cool.
Anyone knows what that term is, but
We're not. Let's not get into that because that's a nasty rabbit hole that we need to stay away from. Some sick people out there. You know what? I say we put a pin in it.
all right.
I think we got some good stuff.
If you want to do a part 3, you let me know.
We always got part 3.
Love the chant. I love the podcast.
We called this a channel before we were.
It's gonna be.
It is a channel.
on
It is a channel
It
now
is.
on YouTube.
I told you it's gonna
Oh,
be.
so it is a YouTube channel. Okay.
You guys are already on YouTube.
Yep.
All right.
And I'm subscribed, so I want to make sure we get everybody else subscribed. I'm letting the world know. Subscribe to A Pod Amongst Men. My man Steve is doing some big things, and he's got a lot of stuff coming, man. He's got a lot of stuff to say.
Make sure you guys also subscribe to Supercar Twins
Supercar Twins. Supercar SUPER
with a Z.
With a
Yeah.
Z. Supercar
All
Twins,
one
one
word.
word with a Z.
And you can contact us on Gmail if you have a nice car out there that you'd like us to review.
Listen, I'm gonna share these guys' stuff. So keep your eyes out for on our Instagram. You're gonna see a lot from these two guys.
Yeah, and thanks for having us again.
Hey,
man. It's always
listen,
a pleasure.
gentlemen.
Always
Thank
a
you so
pleasure.
much for coming by.
No
Hey,
problem,
man.
man.
It's a tricky topic too. A lot of people they kind of claim up. Excuse me, when it comes to families. So
Hey,
I
man.
just thought
Some people grow up with tighter ones. Some people grow up with looser ones.
I'm pretty transparent. My whole thing is I just don't put it on like social media platforms on like Facebook in a big ass paragraph where some people could take your words out of context and your emotions, your energy. I'd rather just speak about it and you can hear from it and you get the face value. Boom,
Exactly.
here
That's
it
why I
is.
like this. We did a long form conversation. You can hear the context of what we're talking about. And maybe
I'm starting to feel like our lives is something to talk about.
bro.
So-
Listen, the whole point of this is to get the stories from normal people, not like crazy people on E or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
like
this
is the
is real.
shit. This is the shit that real people go through, and this is the shit I want to talk about because this is what matters. This is what matters to 99% of the country.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
I want people to be able to listen and be like, you know what? That same shit happened to me. I want people to be able to relate.
I hope they do.
I don't give a fuck what's going on the news.
Yeah.
In the
No, I'm happy to be a part of this stuff. So
Yeah,
again,
same here.
Well, I'm happy you guys are a part of it.
Oh yeah, and all
You
blessings.
and you guys are on every episode. Got the theme music.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't forget these are the
we
gentlemen.
don't forget it.
This is the theme music. Every
Hey,
time
man.
you hear it, it's from these two fine gentlemen right here.
Yep.
Let's go.
All right, so you guys know where to find us.
All right, be good, cool kids.
Instagram, Twitter at APodAmongstMen. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, APodAmongstMen@gmail.com. And now we are on YouTube. Search APodAmongstMen. You'll find our channel there. All our old episodes are uploaded finally. We're caught up. So these episodes come out every Thursday morning, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, we'll see you next week, people. Peace.
Peace out.